the story, feed your soul. Roll from the bench to the whispers where the gavel takes its toll. There's a rhythm in the verdict, echoes from the cubby hole. Echoes, echoes from the cubby hole, where justice starts unfolds. Echoes, echoes, feed your soul. We're talking to from the cubby hole.
Welcome, everyone, back to your favorite cubbyhole on the internet. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. Chat, as I clear my throat rudely because I'm trying to fix too many things all at once. Chat, tell me if the intro music was glitchy. StreamYard, I think, is being a little bit of a bitch today, and it's not surprising. It's been a busy Windows update weekend, and I have been scrambling to get all the updates in, trying to figure out why nothing's working properly. But the show must go on. Okay. Oh, it was glitchy. Yeah. Figures. I will blame it on StreamYard today because I've got everything updated. I could play it fine on my end, but the second I tried to... excuse me. My goodness. Second I tried to play things on StreamYard, it's just a mess. And I was getting the circle of StreamYard death, and I went, oh... Maybe I just shouldn't have done it, but we tried. It was worse this time after going live than any of my other test runs. It is what it is. This is why we have jugs of things to get us by. So anyhow, welcome everyone to the cubbyhole. As glitchy as the cubbyhole is, maybe Omar's right. Maybe I shouldn't make it anything about cubbyholes. Okay, about Omar. I love Omar. Omar is the younger little brother, the cool younger little brother I don't have, but should. And that's not to disparage the one I do have, but the one I do have has pretty good autistic issues, and it's a challenge just having a basic conversation. So, I'm looking to adopt people. So I want to adopt Omar as a very cool, put together little brother. So if you haven't watched this stream, he gave me a shout out. He felt bad for kind of poking fun at me. It's cool, Omar. We're good. Peace, love, all those good things. You're fine. I'm not offended. It's okay. Omar's great. Rachel's great. It's been a busy week in Laura Owens land, or at least in Laura Owens discussion land, hasn't it? I decided to wait because it's been a long week for me in the real world and workforce. So I just wanted to wait, let everyone do their thing. I saw as a couple of interviews came in, it's like, okay, there's going to be some more people over here and over there. And I was just pooped. I was just too pooped with real work to get on and talk about anything. But there was really not much to talk about other than all the great things, all the great conversations that were happening on Megan's channel and Omar's channel. And I just enjoyed sitting back and watching. So there was no reason for me to get in the way. But out of some of those conversations came more things that have got my poor wheels just caught in neutral. For the longest time, and I haven't changed positions yet, I haven't seen enough, but for the longest time, I've felt that Mama Owens, Jan Black, Elizabeth Taylor, pick your name, your poison, I felt that she has been the accomplice. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. But in the last week or so, among my fellow content creators, the winds have changed, have blown a little bit more towards Sister Sarah being the accomplice. And I just couldn't quite get there. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. Maybe they've seen something I've missed. So I've spent sort of the last several days digging through things all over again and going, where are they coming up with this? And Bruce said something, I think it was last night. Was it on Omar's channel? See, they all run together after a while. When it's just kind of boom, 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 and you've got everybody talking to kind of the same circle, and I forget all the details of who's talking to who and when and where it was said. It's okay. You just need to go and watch it all so we can all be confused together. It's fine. We can all be confused. I don't think I'm quite that confused. But I did decide to go back and look at things and say why I don't think it is Sister Sarah. And that's not to say that Sister Sarah is guilty of them. That's not to say Mom is guilty of anything. It's not to say, these are just my opinions, right? I'm not a legal practitioner of any kind, nor am I a medical practitioner of any kind. But I do wear a very dashing, it's become a class hat. Your typical red hat. This is not the red hat that some people like to despise. I think it's very vintage. And it's very suiting for me. I was always a wannabe skater back in the day, but never once rode a board. That's a story for another day. So I have gone back and looked at some of the documents that remind us of the accomplice being present and some other things. And chat, you can help me if I'm really just lost. It's okay. I'll point you in the right direction, folks, because I can't get over this. And I'm just trying to figure out how they've gone to where they've gone with Sarah Navarro Owens being the accomplice, or at least that seems to be sort of the current, maybe it's the flavor of, maybe to Mom again, maybe more will happen with the state. Maybe there will be some additional collateral charges for a new person other than Laura. So this is where I'm going here. Let's bring this up on the stage. So this is where we were first reminded of there being an accomplice at all. And this comes from the state of Arizona, and their allegation of aggravating circumstances. And I'm not going to read all of it as I cough and try and hit the mute button simultaneously, because we don't need to read it all. We've covered this once before. Go back into my videos and take a look. We've read through this document. We've talked about it a little bit. But here on the first bullet point, a little bit further down, we have the offense involved the presence of an accomplice. Now, presence is an interesting word, and it doesn't suggest direct involvement, as the state's definition of an accomplice would. I was kind of reviewing in this document as well. I highlighted some things on happenstance. The defendant has a past bad conduct. So, these are just all of the various matters, all the various materials we're using that Laura's felonies are an aggravated circumstance, which allows for certain heavier charging documents, certain heavier charging sentencing at that time. At the time we get to sentencing, which is most likely not going to happen during the trial, because this is going to be, unless it becomes separate trials with 14 felonies and essentially 2 different cases, I think this is going to be at least a 2-week-long case, if not 3, maybe 4 weeks. We all need to meet down in Arizona for at least a weenie roast. Is it a weenie roast, or is it just a backyard barbecue? Oh, Bruce, the mobile moose. Bruce is not mobile today. It sounds like Bruce is probably watching football. So I think others are. Hey, Bruce. Hey, chat. Hey, Sarah. Hey, everybody else. Rachel. Yeah, I'm trying not to pay too much attention to chat because it gets so easily distracted. It's like, ooh, look at the kitty. So this document reminds us that there was an accomplice, at least present, if not involved. And I would suspect that if the state of Arizona were going to name an accomplice, we will also see some collateral charges, I would think, criminally speaking, for said accomplice. Now, again, I still think it's Mom. I still think it's Mom because we've got some interesting things that linger around. But some of the conversations that were happening were, well, the way their charging documents are written might suggest Sarah. And so I've gone through all the charging documents again and went, well, okay, yes, some of the stuff that Laura used was from Sister Sarah, right? But just because Laura had possession of it and used it, regardless of how, whether Sarah was just sharing it as family stuff, because that happens. Pregnant family members, once they discover they're actually pregnant and they've had some doctor's examinations, tend to share things like that. I've heard of things like sonogram moons. You have like baby showers and you're sharing pictures of the sonogram or the ultrasound or whatever. So for me, and where my mind is at currently, I don't think it's a crime for there have been shared images that came from Sarah's pregnancy, that being images of a sonogram or ultrasound that Sarah may have had, or pictures of her being very pregnant with Ron Owens in a hospital bed, probably when he was under some sort of cancer treatment. Allegedly had 4 bouts of cancer on top of the Parkinson's and all of that. So there was that video. It was sort of cropped so that Laura could claim it was her being pregnant and Daddy was touching her pregnant stomach. But we believe that quite a fabrication, or at least the statement to be a fabrication. So where this leads me is, okay, where's all of this coming from? Where are people getting the idea that maybe Sarah could be the accomplice? And frankly, the lack of information is probably where I'm stuck. So we haven't heard from Sarah. Sarah has been notably absent in any conversation publicly. And as far as we know, other than maybe some very private family stuff, maybe even involving being a co-signer to bankruptcy, we haven't heard anything from Sarah in any of these cases. We don't see presence of Sarah in Mike's case that I've noticed. There's been some small things. We don't see a huge presence of Sarah in Greg's case, or certainly not in Clayton's case. So as I've gone back through and reviewed all the charging documents, I could see where, all right, we've got the sisters' images. Maybe there's something there. But because we don't have anything more than that, I'm stuck. So that's where I'm stuck in kind of following the wind of community change of maybe Sarah's the accomplice. But there's also for me more than that. But let's first go to what the state sort of defines as an accomplice. And this comes from Jackson White Attorneys at Law in the Phoenix area. And I thought, let's all make sure we're using the same definition. So that's a good place to start. Let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start, as the song goes. Name that show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Let's just get right into the definition. So from Jackson White Attorneys, the accomplice definition, and this is ARS 13-301. An accomplice in Arizona is defined as a person who intends to promote or facilitate an offense. In other words, an accomplice is anyone who assists another individual in a crime. This individual can either solicit or command another person to commit a crime, aid another individual in planning a crime, and or provide an opportunity for that individual to commit a crime. The accomplice doesn't directly carry out the crime itself. The person who commits the actual crime is known as the perpetrator. We've heard those words before. However, the accomplice does provide assistance in some form to make the crime happen. For example, an accomplice might purchase a weapon that is then used by the perpetrator in an armed robbery. And then we go on to define conspiracy, which is also sort of an interesting side thing. It's a little bit of a test I think they use in legal practice to decide whether somebody is an accomplice, can also be defined as somewhat of a conspiracy. So this is what this says. One common way to determine whether a person is an accomplice is to consider whether they were involved in a conspiracy to commit the crime. A conspiracy requires at least 2 people to agree to commit a crime and one of the actors commit an overt act in furtherance of that crime. If a person is found to have had a role in conspiracy, they're likely to be considered an accomplice to the subsequent crime. However, conspiracy involves more than just talking about committing a crime. There must be a tangible plan or steps taken to further the act. To convict an accomplice, a lawyer must prove that they had an intent to support the crime. Examples of conspiracy may include agreeing to buy a weapon for the perpetrator that they will later use in the crime, renting a vehicle to assist the perpetrator in evading the crime scene, planning how or when to commit a crime, providing information to the perpetrator to assist them in successfully committing the criminal act. Now, we get even further definition, because this is great too. Let's see. Oh, Michelle, great. Here, Laura, use from your sister. Thanks, Michelle. If there's anything you really want me to see, just say it a few times and maybe eventually I'll catch it. I'll try and catch up on some of your points. as my brain thinks about it. Oh, very good, Redondo Beach. Sound of Music, brava, or bravo, as the circumstance dictates. So an accomplice versus is an accessory is also a good distinction to make, right? Sometimes people, I think, mistakenly use the words interchangeably, and that's not quite the case. So they go on to say a person who did not commit a crime directly, but had a role in assisting the perpetrator, is considered either an accomplice or an accessory, which are two different classifications. An accomplice to a crime is someone who either assists, influences, or encourages a person to commit a crime. An accomplice is typically involved in a crime from the planning stages or in the act of committing the criminal act in some way. An accessory is someone who doesn't have direct involvement in committing the crime, but provides support to a perpetrator evading justice after the fact. Although an accessory does have a role in committing the crime itself, they provide some kind of support to a suspected criminal afterward. Some examples of actions an accomplice might take include agreeing to assist a person in committing a crime, providing support, information, or financial assistance to someone committing a crime, asking or influencing a person to commit a criminal act, obtaining a weapon, driving the getaway car. Driving the getaway car to a horse show. Let's go play with horsies, mommy. Sorry, that's not an allegation. I'm just being silly. Serving as a lookout to protect the perpetrator. Meanwhile, some actions an accessory to a crime might include cleaning up a crime scene, providing support or financial assistance to a perpetrator trying to evade justice, housing a suspected criminal who's on the run. So if we get anyone named as an accessory, we can also have opinions, if not ideas, on who that could be as well. And this goes into punishment for an accomplice in Arizona, which I also thought was interesting. Again, this is brought to us by Jackson White attorneys at law who practice in the Phoenix area and could serve as, I believe, defense attorneys if one so needed. That's not a solicitation in any fact. I'm just providing useful information. And since they provided us useful information on the internet, well, they've got their information up there. You can go find them if you're really interested in doing a little further digging. But the punishment of an individual depends on the crime committed and what form the accomplice has helped. The punishment is typically based on the severity of the crime and how much influence the accomplice had on the outcome. For example, if an individual drives a burglar of a bank away? Oh, got it. Drives the burglar of a bank away from the scene of a crime. Boy, that didn't make sense in my head for half a second. The driver will be charged with burglary and is an accomplice to that crime, which is punishable with prison sentence, so on and so forth. We don't care about some of the sentencing details at point in time. We're just getting information. Though that person did not physically engage in the act of stealing money from the bank, the accomplice was still present at the scene and assisted with the crime. Just as someone didn't pretend to be pregnant themselves, they helped convince men that they needed to go along with Laura and her schemes. See, this is one of the first clues why I don't think Sister Sarah's necessarily the accomplice. Someone has been in the shadows pretty much from the beginning. And if any of you follow the amazing and very engaging psychic girlfriend Richardson, when she talks about this case on her channel, she's done some, psychic insights on Mom a little more recently, which I thought were interesting. Other things I thought were interesting were the history that we got from Megan Fox this week in her interview with the ladies, Flux, Lauren, and the amazing Rachel Juarez. Just the other day, I think it was. Was it the day before? See, it all together in my head. I watch too much. I pay way too much attention to this, and I get lost in it. Who said what? But some of the things we learned from Megan, particularly in her conversation with all the gals, was sort of the favorite child syndrome. That was sort of his and hers children. Ron seemed to favor Sarah. Mom seemed to favor Laura, and they kind of did things together. And Megan even played audio of Ron on the air as Sarah was fangirling about The Bachelor, since both daughters seemed to love The Bachelor. He talks about it being an estrogen house. So we know that the girls, Sarah and Laura, were very much into The Bachelor and probably always have been. But we also get a sense that perhaps there is certain parent favoritism, respectively, which is why there's sort of an unholy alliance of Laura and Mom, and why Mom and Laura were always doing horsey things together. Mom, take me to the horsey show. Even though I'm supposed to be in a trial in California, just drive me to the horsey show and I'll zoom in and I'll get out of it and say I'm like dying or something. That's my belief of what happened during the trial for Mike's DVRO case that Laura Michelle Owens stupidly brought to him and got it dismissed. She failed, as did David Gingras trying to opt in, shall we say. Was both and sort of a ham-fisted attempt at entering his counsel, which didn't work out. Speaking of David Gingras, so stay tuned, folks, for the next segment. We're not going anywhere. We've got For Your Delight, GingerBites, that being AI distillations and summarizing of David Gingras's blog rambling, so you don't have to read it. And that will be next. So stay tuned for that. I feel like I should have like 10 minutes of commercials between segments. I'll this time. Okay, was there anything else about this that was really interesting? I just wanted to get some definitions of an accomplice. And, they talk about death penalties. They get pretty deep into this and so on and so on and so on. But we don't necessarily need that. So the next little bits, just to remind everyone of where we have been with Mom's involvement. We saw Mom in the body cam footage with the wellness checks, and Laura was leaning a lot on Mom to tell lots of the story. There was also this little bit about Clayton, as you might remember. This all comes from Victims of Laura Owens, as I'm sure many of you are aware. For all your case needs, folks, go to Volo, victimsoflauraowens.com. I'm not sure if I included that in the show notes. I think I did, at least in part. This is the back and forth conversation that Clayton had with Jan Black, a.k.a. Elizabeth Ann Naylor Owens. And this talked the whole rigmarole that resulted in the paternity case. So already her involvement is, I think, more apparent here than we see with Sarah. So unless there's stuff we haven't seen, and I have to admit that's a very real possibility, there's more out there that just doesn't fill enough holes in for me to say that, okay, yes, Sister Sarah could be the accomplice. We just got far too much from other places that involve other people, and we have yet to see Sarah get brought up much in any of this. So I'm kind of at a loss. But here we are. Here's the conversation. Hi, Clayton. It's Jan. I very much appreciate you reaching out to me, as I know this is a stressful time for you and Laura. I'm more than happy to talk with you, but I think it makes the most sense for you to speak more with her first. She is experiencing the physical effects of the pregnancy and needs the emotional support of you as the father of the child. Now, we know that, the Daily Mail UK story on this, Jan Black very specifically said that she fully believes that Laura was pregnant. Now, whether or not that is an honest belief or that it's a collateral belief because we're all in the same family fraud together, in my opinion, those are distinguishable things that I think will only come out through trial and through the process working itself out. But already in the first text from Jan Black, Mother Owens, we've got her pushing the narrative of a fake pregnancy, a pregnancy that has been demonstrably proven in a court of law to have been a fraud and fraudulently had for fraudulent purposes. The text continues. I know if you put yourself in her shoes, you'd expect the same. So there's some manipulation and extortion already. You're both in my prayers, is the end of the text. And Clayton responds, are you able to talk here in 5 minutes? I would greatly appreciate it. Laura's dad. Clayton answers, okay, no worries. When would be a good time to talk on the phone? I'm happy to accommodate whatever time works best for you. Jan replies, I'm really intensely focused on my husband and his medical needs through early tomorrow evening. Again, please communicate with Laura first. She told me about what you said this morning. Given the circumstances, I doubt you can convince me of any reason why you can't devote time to get to know her better so that both of you can make the best decision possible. So we have Jan Black, Mother Owens, trying to push Clayton, you need to get into a relationship with her because she's pregnant. You got her pregnant, Clayton. So you need to do the right thing, and you at least need to date her to figure out if you can make it work. Not even if you can figure out to make it work, you just need to do it. So you see where I'm going? See why I'm not ready to give up the idea of why Mother Owens is the accomplice? I can't let go of it yet because so much where Mom is directly involved in the schemes that Laura was trying to push. And Clayton responds, I'm not calling to convince you of anything. I just want to have a conversation with you. I know you want what is best for your daughter, so I hope our conversation can lead us to a place where that is possible. If nothing else, I'd like to share with you a little bit about my entire situation. All I'm asking for is one conversation, and if you don't want to talk to me again after that, I will respect your wish. Can you talk Tuesday at 11 a.m.? Mom, Jan Black, responds more. If you agree to take time to get to know her, aka date her. You know, she doesn't mention a dating contract, but you may as well. This is so coercive in its attempt. It's coercive to get him to be in a dating situation with her that he doesn't want to be in. If you will agree to take time to get to know her better, to see if there is a deeper connection given the circumstances, then yes, we can talk at some point on Tuesday. See, we've got sort of a quid pro quo, right? Not a squid pro quo, but a quid pro quo. My husband has a medical appointment that day, and I'm not sure what time. And Clayton responds, bless him. Unfortunately, we have already tried that, and there isn't a deeper connection. I'm sure you can understand that it's not possible to force something that is not there. Trust me, this would be a whole lot simpler if there was a connection. Nonetheless, I believe we could have a productive conversation and one that is worthwhile. Sharing my side of the story can paint a fuller picture that I feel will help you see both sides. You don't have to agree with me, nor am I asking you to. I would just like to give you an explanation for why I am proceeding the way I am. I will shoot you a text Tuesday morning, and we can figure out a good time for us both. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And then she goes further. If this is, in fact, Jan Black, a.k.a. Mother Owens, clearly a connection was felt considering she is pregnant with your child. I am deeply disappointed that you have come to that conclusion without so much as taking her out on a date since this has happened. This is Mom trying to force him to be in a relationship with her. Unfortunately, if you are unwilling to even speak with Laura and explore that connection given what has happened, there is no need to have a conversation with me. In order to help Laura make an informed decision about this, it would be helpful to know of any physical, mental, genetic conditions, illnesses on her family side. Perhaps your mom or dad could shed some light on that. She's absolutely relentless. Absolutely relentless. And then Clayton responds, surely you can understand that physical attraction is just one part of the equation when it comes to a healthy and long-lasting relationship. Well, I'm not so sure Jan understands that. Even though she's had 2 daughters, got her pregnant, perhaps by some miracle. We also learned from Megan Fox the other day that there was a time where Ron and Jan were separated. And by all accounts from people working at KGO Radio, he was somewhat happier without being together. So I have a feeling that Mom is a little bit crazier than some people give her credit for because she's not so flamboyantly emotional and out of control the way Laura is. But I'm starting to, well, no, I have thought this. I'm not starting to think it. I've been thinking it for a while, and I've said so. Mom is a little bit crazy too. And I think Mom, when she met Ron at such a young age, and he was nearly twice her age, that there may have been some disparity in power dynamics and in early relationship dynamics. And I think, quite frankly, Mother was a little bit damaged to begin with, which is probably why she left New Mexico and fled for California and allegedly worked in radio, although not nearly as prominently as she pretends. I think she's damaged. I think Laura damaged. Ron's in his own ways. And Sarah probably is too, but she just keeps quiet, so we don't hear much from her. And of course, Clayton goes on to talk about how things, there's more about politics and all those things, all the details of relationship compatibility. Fair enough. Jan doesn't seem to think some people just have sex for the sake of getting laid. And come on, this is the 21st century. Catch up. People are hooking up for no reason at all, other than to get laid. This is why there's bars. That's what people do. Not everything results in, oh, you two have done something, you need to be dating. And of course, with a fake pregnancy, it's just ridiculous. So I don't know. And of course, as I keep scrolling, as this thing keeps going, now that I'm at the bottom, my understanding, this is more of Mother Owens. My understanding is that you refuse to have that conversation with her. Once you have it, I'm happy to talk on the phone. So we are pushing Laura to take the reins and for Clayton to be in a relationship with her. And it's just, I can't get to the point of Sarah being the one for whom Laura is doing lots of extra machinations with. Not yet. I have enough for me. If other people are already there, that's great. But I'm not there and I can't see it yet. So others would have to convince me. If Bruce wants to pop on and convince me some more, he can. I'm just not there yet. And if there is more there that I've missed, by all means, call me out on it. I'm not too big to say, okay, I was wrong. I missed this thing. You're right. But Mom's been way too involved in pushing Laura for things and pushing people that Laura's trying to drag into things. So it's just, I think Mom's more involved than maybe some people want to give her credit for. All right. Part the second. This is, I should have left that up because now I have to go fetch it. Let's see, share screen. Now let's get to the updates for Dingus the douche canoe.
The fucking douche canoe.
He is indeed. He is such a douche canoe that I can't stand reading his stuff. I can't stand it. So here's what I decided to do. And it worked so well the other day on the other live where, what was it? It was after Layla and Lauren on the Court of Random Opinion had their little confab together and they were talking about David. I thought, oh, this could be a thing. This could be a thing where we just take, no, go away intro that doesn't want to play. I kick it from the studio. See, I just need to get the habit of kicking things from the studio. Everything looks the same on the pre-stage. I call it the green room. So we've got stuff. Samples of David Gingras and all his blog posting, so you don't have to read it. I think there's good reasons not to read some of his stuff. A lot of it just because it just goes on forever and ever and ever. And I don't know if he just likes to hear himself talk in print. Well, in real life, like bloviate, not pontificate. He's not a pontificator. But boy, does he prattle on incessantly. So we asked ChatGPT to summarize his more recent blog post. So we've got everything from, I think, the 10th to current. So let's get into the first blog posting by David S. Gingras Esquire, who can't stay out of the limelight because, well, that's just him. Got issues. And I share Lauren Knighty's feelings about why that is and why he's got behavioral issues. I won't necessarily reiterate them at the moment. But, yeah, I think he's got issues, and I think they go a little bit further than DUIs. But that's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, God damn it. And, if he dares to try and copyright strike me for this one, for using ChatGPT to summarize his crap, then we're going to have a problem. So don't do it, David. You think Megan's a threat. Oh, you haven't seen what I can do. All right, so let's cover this one. This is the State Bar of Arizona Being Corrupt blog by David Gingras. Yes, it is. Here's proof. This is David's assertion that the Arizona bar is corrupt in distilled, condensed, concentrated ChatGPT form. And the key points of the blog are as follows. Number one, the allegation of corruption. David argues that the State Bar of Arizona is broken and corrupt. not just in a few isolated cases, but systematically. That's a pretty big allegation. That's a huge allegation, really. We'll just say, because I'm being investigated by the State Bar of Arizona, the whole thing's broken. That's what we call malignant narcissism, in my opinion. Next point, the case of Andrew Ivchenko. He centers much of his argument around a lawyer named Andrew Ivchenko, whose wife was arrested for assaulting a police officer in Scottsdale. According to Gingras, Ivchenko tried very hard to hide his wife's arrest and mugshot and allegedly committed serious misconduct to do so, including fraudulent copyright filings and perjury. Fraudulent copyright filings. I wonder who else does that, David. And perjury. Gingras believes this behavior was egregious and made an ethics complaint to the State Bar of Arizona. The bar's response was that the bar allegedly ignored overwhelming evidence of Ivchenko's wrongdoing. Gingras says they dismissed his complaint without even investigating. The bar reportedly told him they don't investigate unless A, a judge refers the case, or B, there is a criminal conviction. Gingras says he asked for their policy on this, but there is no written policy. As a result, Gingras claims Ivchenko was given a green light to continue his wrongful conduct. I'm not sure how I would phrase it, if it being a green light, but, David's going to have that problem, isn't he? Retaliation. After Gingras submitted his complaint, Ivchenko filed a bar complaint against Gingras, which Gingras says was 100% frivolous. Now here's a little Jack Foxism for you ladies and gentlemen, and all other sort of peoples of the day. When people have to start qualifying things just being frivolous, when we aren't using direct language, when we are trying to use value-added adverbs and pronouns and distancing and trying to make, compelling, and, we're just trying to convince people. We're adding extra to be convinced. That's a red flag. That's something to take note of and figure out, okay, what is it they're not saying? Next bullet point. The bar pursued misconduct charges against Gingras. In an ex parte hearing where Gingras wasn't present, they issued a warning letter and a $600 fine. Gingras rejected the penalty, went to court, and after litigation, all charges were dropped. According to him, he was found guilty of 0 misconduct. See, another qualification. Wild. Now, if they're going to go so far as to have a hearing, I would wonder why they would let it go after he goes so far as, he wants to make another deal of it himself after they gave him misconduct, but they drop it. I don't know if they thought he was crazy already by that time or what, but it's interesting that they didn't pursue it. I'm not saying that anybody's right or wrong. This isn't a judgment in my perspective. This is we're just reading what David claims in his blog post. Later, Gingras says another bar counsel asked the Arizona Supreme Court to clarify, via a comment, the ethical rule he was accused of violating, effectively backing Gingras' interpretation that his conduct was not unethical. Interesting. The broader critique of that blog. Gingras claims the bar doesn't really protect the public, despite that being its stated mission. He argues instead that it defrauds the public by letting serious misconduct slide. Well, in that case, David, be getting just second now, right? I mean, you've engaged in all sorts of egregious conduct, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of quite a number of people who filed bar complaints against you. And since the bar has taken up a number of those and seems to be, collating them into some sort of action, they held a committee to investigate and maybe even bring you up on some charges. It seems there's some steam behind that motion. He said he'll publish all documents, bar complaints, responses, pleadings, etc. soon, so the public can see it all. Every lie, every decision, everything. I feel like I should read that again.
Every lie, every decision, everything.
We'll use some voices. It's that kind of a Saturday. I got a haircut. We're feeling okay. We have to be a little bit silly. He's preparing a video to further explain and present evidence because there are bags of receipts and a massive library of documents. more hyperbole and inflammatory language that really has no meaning. It's pointless. And as far as I'm aware, you know what? I'm going to pop over to another window and I'm going to do a quick search because I didn't do this. I was thinking about it and I ran out of time. Oops. And his YouTube page is not David Gingras. Oh, let's see. Has he posted anything new? Has he posted anything new at all? No. Nope. There's nothing new on David Gingras's YouTube page. So the blathering on that we're going to reveal all is so far erroneous. Oy vey. And then ChatGPT goes on to tell us about the structure, tone, and purpose. Sometimes this is insightful too. Just a literary tone can be revealing. This is clear and sees the state bar as fundamentally failing. He emphasizes he has documents and evidence and plans to make them public, not just rant. Where have we heard that before? In his PR representation of his former client, perhaps? Call to public interest, as only he can do. He frames this as a public concern, not just personal, arguing that the bar's failures harm the public's trust in the legal system. Well, if that's the case, then they should rather quickly, again, in my opinion, disbar him. And I don't know how it works because he practices in multiple states. That should happen in California too. Because if you aren't fit to practice in one state, really you aren't fit to practice in any. But that's my opinion. And then I asked ChatGPT to look at the other ones. So this is the one that follows. This is the next one chronologically. Ivchenko Files Part 1 of a Billion is how he titled it. David Gingras says he's going to start releasing a large collection of documents. And yes, he did put some stuff and makes a bunch of collateral allegations about his involvement in that and tries to frame it a certain way. I'm not going to take a side on that because I think he's full of it either way, and it doesn't really matter how that case pans out. Trying to use a previous case that maybe did or didn't go his way and may or may not have happened in the best of circumstances is not indicative of further problems, that there's a problem within the bar, how it manages lawyer misconduct. Correlation is not causation is the phrase. But we get further summing up, and this is exciting. The last one is the best, folks. I saved the best for last just for you. Oh, let's see. Failures by the state bar. He claims Ivchenko went to extreme lengths to cover up his wife. So some of this is reiteration already. I didn't read those blogs. I had enough of the first one. I said, no, I'm not going to read them. We're just going to sum up. Inigo Montoya would say, no, there's too much. Let's sum up. I need a little bit more of a Latino accent to say that one properly. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Classic movie. See, Gingras disputes the context. He highlights a claim that Gingras initiated an online attack against Ivchenko and other attorneys, which I believe is probably accurate because we've seen that repeated pattern of behavior from David as well. He reveals that Ivchenko was working with a young lawyer who had a prior felony conviction, which Gingras found deeply concerning. Well, I find someone who was about to be arraigned, I think they were indicted, for sexual misconduct with a minor, shall we say, on multiple felony counts of sexual misconduct with a minor. I find that problematic and discerning for a practicing attorney. And yes, I know, because we weren't convicted, nor were we put on the sex offender registry, because of problems, those were the problem at the time, was with the Arizona prosecutorial mechanism at that time that brought David Gingras up on those early charges in the 90s. He was let go. I'm not sure that was a good thing, but be that as it may, all of those things led to him representing Laura Owens, which is where we find ourselves now. I digress. Let's see. Gingras defends his own professional conduct. He says he only advised his client on communication that was legal and that the bar initially punished him for it, citing ER 42, but ultimately dismissed all the charges. He notes that the Arizona Supreme Court later added a comment to the Ethical Rule 42, clarifying that a lawyer can advise a client on legally permitted communications, which Gingras sees as vindication. Gingras emphasizes that there's much more to the story, particularly evidence of criminal conduct by Ivchenko that the bar allegedly ignored, which he plans to unpack in a video. Why are we going back in time for bar history? Why are we going back in time? Another thing Jack says. When you have to go back in time to try and make things look important today, I'm not going to get this right. It's not going to be a quote. So forgive me for that. All of you who follow Jack Fox, a little bit more photographic memory. I don't have it. I've got to paraphrase. When we're going backwards to try and clarify what's happening now, that's also a red flag. So David going back to try and justify his current position on why the bar is so corrupt and failing, that's problematic. That's problematic more for David. Oh, let's see. He provides a link to a federal court complaint that he filed against Ivchenko as a partial way to document what happened. And of course, we get more tone and purpose from ChatGPT, which is great. It's very confrontational and investigative, which, well, the confrontational part is on brand for David. Gingras frames this as a public accountability project. He wants transparency and believes that the systemic failures in the bar must be exposed. Just as he tries to expose JFC. It's their expose. Other than to needlessly and rather nefariously dox people like Loud Little Ducky and some others. That's not a good thing to do, David. You shouldn't be doing that. It serves no purpose. It serves no legitimate nor legal purpose to try and go around subpoenaing things just so you can dox them. It does nothing. I mean, it just makes you an asshole who's waving a law license around that you have no right to have. We could talk about other failures and more recent litigation, but never mind. Oh, let's see. System calls. Yeah, okay. Let's see. The next one, part 2. The Ivchenko files the document index. So some more summation, courtesy of ChatGPT, as only ChatGPT can do. This post is a central index for the documents Gingras is releasing related to his allegations. And again, we're going back in time to the whole thing with Ivchenko. The index acknowledges that the number of documents is very large. It's a partial set of documents, including police reports, body cam footage, and a criminal complaint for Renee Ivchenko, the alleged attorney's wife. Life and wife. Yes, same thing. Various lawsuits, state and federal, involving Andrew and Renee Ivchenko versus Gingras' clients. Bar complaints, both Gingras' complaint against Ivchenko, Ivchenko's complaints against Gingras, and related bar complaints. So we had a little tete-a-tete with the bar, 2 attorneys going at it. Like 2 fighting cocks in the cock roost. Yeah, it's a cockfight. Yeah, I've got some boxers that have cocks on them. Never mind. Let's see, miscellaneous documents like copyright registration filings. Gingras has promised to update the index as more documents are sorted and made public. Why? No one's going to care. We don't care. We just want to deal with why you're such a problem now. It's water under the bridge. You didn't get your way the way you wanted. That's just too bad. And it doesn't prove misconduct. It doesn't prove corruption. It doesn't prove any of those things he's trying to allege. So let's skip ahead. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at him already, and I haven't even finished it. And here's his latest in this series. I think this is from November 13th, if I'm not mistaken. This is why we can't have nice things. Frowny face emoji. -note. Let's see. I couldn't find any Gingras Law posts with the exact title. This is why we can't have a nice... Misdirected. What? Oh, ChatGPT, you failed me. Okay, hold please, everybody. I know it's there because I saw it when I grabbed this. So let's fix ChatGPT. Hang on. Let's push the hold music. Okay. It's Chat GPT. I've just noticed that he's updated with the new blog post from today. So we'll do that again. We'll be thorough. He's got one out today, folks, and we'll capture that with a Chat GPT summary from the Gingras Law Office blog. Yes, he can copyright anything he wants on his blog. We can use Chat GPT to summarize all of that bullshit and to distill it down for us so we don't have to read every goddamn word of that nonsense. I get a headache reading his stuff. I found Laura's stuff far more entertaining. She's more dramatic and more engaging in a literary way than David is, in my opinion. He just prattles on so, and it's just, oh, David, get to the point. So this is from November 13, and why we can't have nice things. And it couldn't find the link because, well, the link table has updated with today's offering from Gingras Law. And so this is what it gets. And then I'll tell Chat GPT to look at the latest one. So I should thinking about it right now. Collect that link and get it ready to summarize. We'll invent words. Just read it, he says. Okay, here's the main points. Gingras opens by noting that a comment was posted on his site that claimed to be from him. He strongly asserts that it was not him. He referenced the poster's IP address from somewhere in the Bay Area and acknowledges that the IP could be faked via a VPN, which is true. Not impossible. Because of this and other prank comments, Gingras decided to turn off comments on his blog. He states that although some legitimate voices were adding fair comments and questions, he cannot police the comment section all day, so the comments are off. So what, David? Jesus Christ. It's not like you have to have a full-time moderator. Let people say what they're going to say, or just don't do it at all. You've chosen the latter, don't do it at all. But that doesn't prevent us from talking about it now, does it? Because he's been involved in a high-profile case. It's newsworthy. That makes all of this subject to fair use for discussion, for educational and newsworthy purposes. So if the First Amendment lawyer wants to be an asshole, he's not going to like the results. That's not a threat. It's a promise. The results will be me talking about it more and just wearing more badges of honor after having been in one of his bar filings. So, he'll do what he's going to do, and we'll do what we're going to do, and that's just the way it's going to be. Let's see, he turned off the comments. He's not going to police it. He mentions another ongoing matter. The bar guy said he plans to file charges in the next week or two, and that was 10 days ago. So we should be hearing any minute if he actually decides to post it, which he may not if it's not favorable to him. That's my hunch of how things may go, and we may not know the outcome until those people who file bar complaints receive further word that their case has either been taken up or it's been resolved or various things have happened. Because, when anyone files a bar complaint, it's just the bar and the accused. There's also the accuser and information going to the bar. We know that Layla and Lauren and some others have given more to the bar. So it seems like they are quite legitimately looking at misconduct for David S. Gingras, Esquire. Let's see, he says that once charges are filed, he will gain subpoena power. Now he's going to start making sort of strong-armed legal threats, as he typically does, meaning he can force people to hand over documents, computers, phones, take depositions, or request information from Instagram, Twitter. Not so fast. Not so fast. He have unilateral subpoena power. Not quite the way a court does. There has to be lots more to happen. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I'm not a practicing attorney, of course. I don't practice in the legal profession. We do other more interesting things with our time. Although I think I could have been okay. I think I would have done okay in the legal profession had I, had enough interest in taking LSATs and that, figuring all that out. I didn't. I was pretty passionate in the line of work I'm in currently, which I've been doing for over 20 years. In some cases, over 30 years. I started young with some things. He thinks he's going to get lots of stuff from platforms. No. I can speak to that a little bit more personally with my detractors. Some of them have claimed they've gotten incriminating things allegedly about myself, but I know they don't exist, so I know they're full of shit. So there's my little update on detractors. And they're just my detractors are just posturing to their audience to make themselves look good. But that's additional stories for another time. And when I have like a co-host or something, I'm out to dry today. I'm alone here in the cubbyhole, all by myself. Don't want to be okay. It's Saturday, silly Saturday. As part of the potential discovery, he says certain individuals, he names Mada's father, Woodnick Gillespie, may receive subpoenas or other demands if necessary. He clarifies he does not intend to abuse the power. Well, that's a red flag already. But he will use it as needed in his defense. Yuck, yuck, yuck. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want people releasing any more than they have. It's not going to go well for him. It's just not. Gingras ends by saying he has to get back to his other stuff. He expresses frustration at the childish idiots that forced him to turn off the comments. Oh, don't be such a baby, Dave. It's all as part of what happens when people engage in misconduct or controlling. That's life. The tone is somewhat exasperated and defensive. Gingras is reacting to what he sees as false claims or trolling directed at him. He is also asserting his rights and his intention to use legal tools, subpoenas, etc., if necessary, implying that these are serious takes. The post serves partly as a public announcement of the comment section closure, but also as a signal there's more going on behind the scenes and more legal action may follow, as only he can saber rattle. While he doesn't deep dive into the larger case, not surprisingly, which he has in other posts, this article functions more as a status update or a heads up than a full investigative piece. And then there's other things that ChatGPT suggests. But let's get the latest one. I haven't looked at it. Let's update it one more time, and hopefully ChatGPT won't say to me, oh, there's not more, because we just saw it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I will just demonstrate to you that it does in fact exist as evidence. So we'll just share this tab really quick. The latest, today's posting from Gingras Law Office PLLC. So that's all you get from him. I don't want to tempt the devil here. And we'll go back to this one and the summary of it. So, yes, dance like baby squid, Michelle. In memory of baby squid. I think, is that this one? Nope. No, I don't know which one it is. There's like a dozen of them and Megan has one of them. I don't use the one Megan has because Megan uses it, so I found others. It's great. They're all fun. Oh, why can't we find that one? What is the matter with you, ChatGPT? You aren't helping. Okay, folks, hold, please. Again, let's use different hold music. Shit, have I been muted the whole time? God damn it. Boomer tech problems. Thank you, chat. Sorry. I wasn't saying anything important. I really wasn't. I was just scrolling through some more and, we were just taking a more, chat GPT. This doesn't exist. Can't find it. Find archive version. Maybe it's too fresh. But David just prattles on. And we're at the point in this program, I think, where even though you missed me for I don't know how many minutes. See, I should, sign language. I could do baseball signals like David Gingras. We could go, we could do the Gingras baseball signals. I was just scrolling about in the blog. Oh, it's a pity. ChatGPT doesn't want to give us the summary on the latest one. We'll cover that as soon as I can because I don't want to read through all that crap. Okay, you can put on your bingo card Boomer Tech problems. I haven't made you a bingo card. It's okay. It's good. You'll find out. Yell at you to say, "Oh, you're muted, you boomer." No, I'm still Gen X, but I'm starting to have more and more boomer tech problems as I go on and do more of this stuff. But anyhow, back to where I was before I actually saw your comments. And you've probably been typing that for 15 minutes. You're muted. I know. See, this is where Bruce could have dropped into the studio and said, "Oh, hey, dumbass, here. Do you want to be that silent? We could do silent movies. I'll play some music and I'll just move my lips and put up cue cards like, old movies from the 20s. That could be fun. We could have a silent movie night sometime. All right, I digress. Anyhow, where I was saying, I'm not going to read all the latest blog from Gingras Law Offices, PLLC. We don't need it. We'll summarize that at some point when I can find it, or I guess I could ask Grok to do it and see if Grok gets pissy. That's all right. That's enough for today. I hope you're all having a good weekend. I hope it's been a good week for you. It's been kind of interesting in the Laura Owens circle of events. And as soon as I of all stuff Owens family related, and we'll flash that at the end so everyone can stay updated at all the latest trials and hearings and things coming up. Who was it? All the Best Research, or was it? Oh golly, now I've forgotten who posted it on the Twitters. It was probably one of those, one of our usual great suspects who provides us with such wonderful information. Volo, victimsoflauraowens.com, all the best research and timelines. They're all great people. All the people on Twitter who kind of co-share spaces in those arenas. That's where we source most of our things from. We're grateful to them and to you and your support of everybody in these cases. Lots of things. So I'm just going to bid you a fond weekend farewell. I can't talk. I'm done. See, I'm done. I need more people to talk for me so I don't have to do all the talking for 2 hours or hour plus. So stay tuned. More will be happening. We've got more coming. I think there's more stuff happening with the indigency, no, not indigency stuff, the judgment debtor stuff. That's coming up soon, I believe. There's some other stuff happening with the bankruptcy coming up. I think we're waiting for some more updates from Big Tiff Dog in the finances of the Owens family. And I wonder if Tiff might talk about that little venture that Sarah and Laura had together trying to break into home financing. I don't know if Tiff's talked about that much and I've missed it, or if there was other stuff with that. But I kind of wonder about the finances with it had a name. I had it up a minute ago. I've closed it already. With that little business venture that Laura started last year with Sister Sarah to try and co-sign stuff like how Sarah did for mom and dad in their multiple loan things and HELOCs and all that stuff. So they kind of made a business, sort of, the two of them, that hasn't done well out of the state of Delaware. I believe it was sort of, I want to say they tried to file as a nonprofit, but they haven't done all the right things. So that raised some eyebrows as people looked into those cases. So there's lots going on. There's lots to keep tabs on. We're doing the best we can and, trying to stay afloat here. I need minions. I need minions to bring things to me so I can take a breather and another sip of water. So here's to your weekend as I clank my jug. Cheers, everybody, and until next time, stay tuned.